Scientists say the behavior showed the exceptional hunting skills of the killer whales, hunting and killing a great white shark in less than 2 minutes.
Watch this video of an orca taking down a great white shark.
Beneath the expanse of our oceans lies a realm where the line between predator and prey blurs, and the law of the wild reigns supreme. Imagine the mighty great white shark, long revered as the king of the deep, now finding itself stalked by an unseen terror, a shadowy behemoth that strikes fear into the hearts of even the most seasoned oceanographers.
Orca are very smart animals. They're very powerful, and in some cases, probably even more powerful than a white shark.
But what could possess the audacity to challenge the apex predator of the seas? And what does this mean for the delicate balance of our oceanic ecosystems? Join us as we unravel the mystery of what's hunting the great white sharks, monarchs of the deep. The great white shark is a massive fish that is famous for being really big. The name white shark, or its Australian version white pointer, originates from the shark's bright white underside, which is most noticeable when they're stranded on beaches lying upside down, revealing their bellies. Informally, people tend to prefer calling them great white sharks, with great possibly highlighting their large size and impressive capabilities. In the past, white shark was also used to describe a much smaller shark called the oceanic white-tipped shark, sometimes referred to as the lesser white shark. Nowadays, scientists generally stick to white shark because lesser white shark isn't used anymore, though some still use white shark to describe all sharks in the Lamnidae family. The biggest great white shark we know of was a female about 19 feet long and weighing around 4,410 pounds when it was all grown up. But most are smaller. The males are usually around 11 to 13 feet long, and the females are about 15 to 16 feet long on average. These sharks can live a really long time, even up to 70 years, which is a lot longer than we thought before. The males become adults when they're around 26 years old, and the females when they're about 33. Great white sharks can swim pretty fast, up to 16 miles per hour for short bursts, and they can go pretty deep underwater. They're like the kings and queens of the ocean, especially when it comes to eating other animals. Great white sharks are commonly found in coastal and offshore waters with temperatures ranging from 12 to 24 degrees Celsius, or 54 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. They are often seen in regions like the United States, South Africa, Japan, Oceania, Chile, and the Mediterranean, including the Sea of Marmara and Bosphorus. One of the highest concentrations of these sharks is spotted around Dyer Island in South Africa. The great white shark is typically seen in epipelagic zones, especially where there's abundant prey. They love snacking on marine mammals, like seals and dolphins. They also eat all kinds of fish, other sharks, and even birds that hang out near the water. With their mouths filled with rows of sharp knife-like teeth, they're always prepared to rip through flesh and crush bones with ease. It's no surprise Hollywood enjoys depicting them as wild, unpredictable predators, attacking everything in sight and causing chaos wherever they roam. However, great white sharks aren't just mindless predators. They have a purpose behind their actions, almost like following a ritual, and their behavior follows surprising patterns in both space and time. Contrary to what many people think, they don't randomly attack. And much of the advice we've heard on how to avoid their attacks, well, it's not always accurate. These incredible creatures are far more complex than they appear. They're intelligent, elusive, and remarkably sophisticated. With their incredibly sharp eyesight and keen sense of smell, they're masters of the ocean, effortlessly navigating its depths. In fact, they're so clever that even the best efforts of experts and millions of dollars in resources haven't been able to figure out how to keep them in captivity. They seem to defy all attempts to confine them within aquariums. When it comes to their physical abilities, their cartilage skeleton, though it might seem like a limitation, actually enhances their movement. Cartilage, while strong and dense, is lighter than bone, allowing sharks to swim faster with less effort. Their remarkable speed and endurance, enabling them to travel vast distances across oceans, are made possible by their unique muscular structure. In the realm of muscle composition, great white sharks defy expectations. While one might assume that their extensive migrations would require predominantly red muscle fibers for sustained swimming, it's quite the opposite. Over 90% of their muscle fiber is white, granting them unmatched acceleration for high-speed hunting and ambushes. But what about how great white sharks manage to travel long distances? How does having so little red muscle affect this? Unlike many other fish, where the red muscle fibers are close to the skin, in great white sharks, they're deep inside the body. What's interesting is that the thickest part of these red muscles is near the dorsal fin, which is the thickest part of the shark's body. This might seem puzzling at first. If these muscles are for sustained swimming, why are they positioned so far from the tail and near the bending axis? Despite seeming counterintuitive, this arrangement of the red muscle enables the shark to move efficiently. It's what gives them their distinctive swimming style known as thunder swimming. But even with their remarkable features and fearsome reputation, even these formidable sharks have something to fear: the vanishing of Shark Alpha. In 2003, filmmakers Dave and Jine Riggs were filming a nature documentary in Bremer Bay, Australia. Then, their peaceful shoot turned ominous as they stumbled upon a haunting scene. 9 massive sperm whales stranded lifelessly on the shore. As they approached, they were met with an even more chilling sight: a group of hungry great white sharks lurking closer to shore than usual, drawn by the scent of the whale carcasses. While most would shy away, Dave saw an opportunity. He swiftly enlisted a team of scientists armed with geotagging equipment, aiming to tag the sharks and uncover their migration patterns. Using specialized poles with needles, they inserted tags into the shark's dorsal fins, beginning with a 9-foot-long female dubbed Shark Alpha. Little did they know, this tagging endeavor would spiral into one of the ocean's greatest mysteries. Just 4 months later, Shark Alpha's tag washed ashore, signaling the disappearance of the shark it had been attached to. What could have happened to this formidable predator, vanishing without a trace? Theories abounded, ranging from the existence of a lost Megalodon to encounters with colossal giant squids. Isn't it captivating? What could have possibly devoured such a massive great white shark? Researchers pored over the data and uncovered a startling revelation. On Christmas Eve, the shark, initially swimming calmly, abruptly changed its trajectory and plummeted to depths of nearly 1,900 feet, an area rarely ventured by great whites. Moments later, the tag registered a drastic spike in temperature, soaring from 46 degrees Fahrenheit to a staggering 78 degrees Fahrenheit. What could this cryptic data signify? The experts were dumbfounded. They deduced that Shark Alpha had likely fallen prey to a colossal and immensely powerful entity. Despite her nearly 1-ton stature and formidable strength, something had seized her and dragged her into the abyssal depths of the ocean. Dave, known for his adventurous spirit, felt compelled to plunge into the depths of the ocean himself to unravel this mystery. Aware of the dangers of diving without proper gear, he took matters into his own hands and constructed his own underwater vehicle. Pieced together from a metal frame, components salvaged from an old lawnmower, and fortified with 5 layers of fiberglass, this homemade contraption was his ticket to exploring the treacherous depths. But could such a makeshift vessel withstand the immense pressure of the deep sea and protect him from its deadliest inhabitants? With a mix of curiosity and trembling, Dave rallied a team of fellow thrill-seekers and squeezed into the cramped confines of his submarine, ready to confront the unknown. However, their expedition quickly encountered unforeseen challenges. Merely 65 feet below the surface, they found themselves encircled by approximately 40 whaler sharks and a pod of killer whales. Faced with the stark reality of their dangerous situation, they made the difficult decision to abort the mission and resurface. Yet, their venture yielded valuable insights. They discovered that the area, dubbed the Kill Zone, teemed with killer whales and whaler sharks. This revelation raised a pressing question. Could one of these formidable predators be responsible for the disappearance of Shark Alpha? Considering the possibility of the whaler shark, also known as the copper shark, adds another layer of intrigue to the mystery. These remarkable creatures inhabit temperate waters across the globe, from the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans to regions around Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. Despite their impressive size, reaching up to 3.3 meters in length, they possess a stealthy nature that makes them challenging to spot. However, their narrow hook-shaped upper teeth and distinctive bronze hue set them apart from other sharks. Feeding primarily on cephalopods, bony fishes, and other cartilaginous species, the whaler shark is not known to prey on larger marine mammals. Their agile swimming abilities and occasional group hunting behavior, particularly during events like the annual sardine run off South Africa, showcase their adaptability and prowess in the ocean's ecosystems. Now, this is where things get really fascinating. Copper sharks, like many of their requiem shark relatives, have a unique way of bringing their young into the world. Instead of laying eggs, these sharks are viviparous, meaning they give birth to live babies. The females give birth to litters of 7 to 24 pups every other year, in special coastal areas known as nursery grounds. But it takes a long time before this happens, with a pregnancy that can last anywhere from 12 to possibly 21 months. The journey doesn't end at birth. Copper sharks grow up very slowly. Males don't reach adulthood until they are between 13 and 19 years old, while females take even longer, maturing between 19 and 20 years old. Even though copper sharks are quite large and sometimes linked to shark attacks, they are not considered a major threat to humans. They are ranked 10th when it comes to unprovoked shark attacks on people, with only a few recorded incidents, 15 non-fatal and 1 fatal attack. Currently, we don't know the exact population size of these sharks, and they are listed as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List. This is because they are easily affected by overfishing. Their slow growth and low reproductive rates make it hard for their population to recover quickly, leading to significant threats to their survival. Despite their fearsome reputation, copper sharks usually don't grow larger than the typical great white shark, making it unlikely that one could take down a large predator like shark alpha. However, killer whales are a completely different story, posing a much greater threat to these sharks. The majestic killer whales. Killer whales, or orcas, are the striking black and white giants that dominate the oceans. Unlike typical whales, they are the largest members of the dolphin family. Their unique patterns make them easy to spot, and they can be found in every corner of the world, from the freezing waters of the Arctic to the warm seas of the tropics. Orcas have a diverse diet, feasting on everything from fish to sharks to seals. Some pods, or groups of orcas, even specialize in specific types of prey. These marine predators are not just hunters, they are also highly social animals, living in close-knit family groups where they pass down hunting techniques and unique vocal traditions through generations. Male orcas are truly enormous, growing between 19 to 26 feet long and weighing more than 6 tons. Females are slightly smaller, measuring 16 to 22 feet in length and weighing around 3 to 4 tons. However, there are exceptional individuals. Some males can reach up to 32 feet and females up to 27 feet. To give you an idea of their size, that's roughly as long as a bus. Despite their immense power and size, orcas are surprisingly gentle with humans. There has never been a confirmed case of an orca attacking a person in the wild. However, the story changes in captivity. There have been unfortunate incidents where captive orcas have harmed their handlers in marine parks. This indicates that while orcas are not naturally aggressive towards humans in their natural habitat, their behavior can become unpredictable when confined. Orcas are incredibly fast and powerful, able to take down sharks with ease. However, the data available doesn't quite support this theory. Shark Alpha's tag indicated she was attacked at a depth of 1,900 feet, but killer whales are surface hunters and rarely dive that deep. Additionally, the temperature inside the predator was recorded at 78 degrees Fahrenheit, whereas killer whales have a body temperature similar to humans, around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So, if it wasn't a killer whale, what could it have been? This leads us to another intriguing possibility: the giant squid. The enigmatic giant squid. Deep in the murky depths of the ocean lurks the colossal giant squid. These mysterious creatures puzzle scientists because they live so far below the surface, making them incredibly challenging to study. But where else would one expect to find a secretive predator than in the least explored parts of the sea? What's even more fascinating is that giant squid dwells between 1,000 and 2,000 feet beneath the waves, precisely where Shark Alpha met its demise. So how do these massive squids compare to great whites? Well, they're downright gigantic. The largest ever recorded measured a whopping 59 feet long and weighed nearly a ton, about 10 times the size of an average person. And let's talk about their powerful tentacles, equipped with grippy suckers. Giant squid can snatch prey from up to 33 feet away with these elongated feeding arms. Typically, giant squids feast on smaller fish and shrimp. However, recent findings suggest that sharks might also end up on their menu. In 2020, a white-tipped shark was discovered covered in large tentacle marks, unmistakably left by a massive squid. Fortunately, that shark survived, but how many others weren't as lucky remains unknown due to the limited research available. Giant squid exhibit a behavior known as diurnal vertical migration. Basically, they come to the surface at night to hunt and retreat to the depths during the day to rest, away from potential threats. So, in theory, a colossal squid could have surfaced, spotted Shark Alpha, and dragged it down to the depths for a hearty meal. The tricky part is that big spike in temperature when the shark was eaten. It suggests that whatever ate it was warm-blooded, meaning its insides were hotter than the water around it. But here's the twist. Giant squids are cold-blooded, meaning their body temperatures match the water they're in. So with that, we can scratch giant squid off the list. But that also means we've crossed out the most obvious suspects. Now, we need to get a bit imaginative. While killer whales are the usual culprits for shark attacks, in the past, there were other creatures known for feasting on sharks. Could it be that one of these supposedly extinct creatures is behind this mysterious event? It might sound far-fetched, but considering we've only explored a tiny fraction of the ocean, it's not as crazy as it seems. the lost giants of the ancient seas. The Spinosaurus were the top rulers of North Africa during the late Cretaceous period, about 100 to 94 million years ago when dinosaurs were everywhere. Spinosaurus, also known as spine lizards, stood out from other dinosaurs. In 1912, German paleontologist Ernst Stromer introduced Spinosaurus to the world after finding some Egyptian remains. Sadly, those original bones were lost in World War II, but more clues emerged in the 21st century. Today, scientists wonder if there are one or two Spinosaurus species. The main one, S. aegyptiacus, is from Egypt, but there might be another, S. moroccanus, in Morocco. Some even think Sigilmasosaurus might just be Spinosaurus in a different pose. When we talk about Spinosaurus, we're talking about some famous meat-eaters like T-Rex or Giganotosaurus. Spinosaurus could have been up to 14 meters long and weighed 7.4 metric tons. And they weren't just big, they were terrifying too. Their skulls were like modern crocodiles, with long, straight teeth for biting, and their forelimbs were powerful, with 3 fingers and a huge claw. They also had long spines on their backs, forming a sail-like structure. Some think it helped them control their temperature, while others believe it was for attracting mates or scaring rivals. Now, Spinosaurus wasn't just a land creature. It had a knack for swimming too. Evidence suggests it was semi-aquatic, meaning it was quite comfortable in the water. Its leg bones were denser than most dinosaurs, helping it navigate underwater, and its tail acted like a built-in paddle, perfect for gliding through ancient mangrove forests. Since Spinosaurus could have eaten sharks, some think it might still be lurking in the ocean today, unnoticed. However, Spinosaurus was only partly adapted to water, and probably couldn't dive as deep as where the great white shark met its end. So, while this idea doesn't lead us anywhere new, there's still more to consider. The Mosasaurus, known as the rulers of the Meuse River, lived during the late Cretaceous period, about 82 to 66 million years ago. They were first discovered centuries ago when some skulls were found in a chalk quarry near Maastricht, Netherlands. Initially mistaken for crocodiles or whales, it was naturalist Georges Cuvier in 1808 who identified them as giant marine lizards, laying the groundwork for our understanding of extinction. The name Mosasaurus was officially coined in 1822 by William Daniel Conybeare, honoring its origins by referencing the Meuse River. Now, talking about size, Mosasaurus was enormous. Older estimates suggested the largest species, M. hoffmanni, reached 56 feet, longer than a school bus. However, recent studies suggest it may have been a bit shorter, around 42 feet, which is still impressive, and certainly large enough to devour a whole shark. Mosasaurus had rows of teeth designed for slicing through prey. Its 4 limbs functioned like paddles, perfect for navigating ancient waters, while its tail had a unique bend and paddle-like fluke, making it an expert swimmer. Despite its lackluster sense of smell, Mosasaurus had exceptional eyesight, hinting that it might have been a warm-blooded creature. However, the diversity in Mosasaurus species adds some complexity, with more than 50 species once attributed to the genus. Recent research has clarified this, confirming at least 5 species under the Mosasaurus umbrella. Now, compared to the Spinosaurus, the Mosasaurus was built for ocean life, with flipper-like limbs and a long shark-like tail that propelled them through the water at speeds of at least 30 miles per hour. Although they weren't much faster than great white sharks, they were way bigger. So it's pretty certain they could hunt down and munch on a shark with their terrifying teeth. Imagine if these two creatures, the Mosasaurus and the great white shark, were to have a showdown. Well, it wouldn't be much of a fight. The Mosasaurus could be over 5 times longer and more than 10 times heavier than the shark. So, the great white shark would definitely be the loser in this scenario. But here's the catch. This idea rests on the possibility of these ancient marine reptiles surviving secretly underwater all this time. Now, could that happen? Well, when an asteroid slammed into Earth and wiped out the dinosaurs some 66 million years ago, you might think the sea creatures would have been okay. The water might have shielded some from the initial impact, but even those survivors were in trouble. The meteorite messed up the carbon levels in the air and caused acid rain to pour down, making the oceans too acidic for most creatures to survive. So, the chances of a Mosasaurus making it through all that are extremely slim, practically impossible. So, we can rule out any suspects from the dinosaur era. But there's another creature that's said to be extinct, yet many people think it's still out there somewhere. Its name, the Megalodon, also known as the largest shark to ever exist. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. In the murky depths of the Pacific Ocean, a silent behemoth that moved with lethal grace through the waters, scientists whispered in hushed tones of the mysterious predator that had sent shockwaves through marine research circles. Dr. Evelyn Ramirez, a renowned marine biologist, had dedicated her life to studying the behaviors of great white sharks. but even she was unprepared for the terror that gripped her heart when reports began to surface of her beloved predators vanishing without a trace. As she pored over data in her cramped research vessel, a sense of urgency consumed her. Scientists say that something big is hunting great white sharks right now, and they're worried, Evelyn muttered to herself, the weight of the revelation settling heavily upon her shoulders. With a steely resolve, she launched an expedition into the heart of the danger zone, determined to uncover the truth behind the disappearances. Finally, they reached their destination, a remote stretch of ocean teeming with life. But as they descended into the abyss, they realized they were not alone. Glowing eyes peered out from the darkness, and the unmistakable silhouette of an unknown predator loomed large before them. At that moment, Dr. Ramirez knew that they were not just facing a predator, they were confronting a force of nature, a primal terror that threatened to upend everything they thought they knew about the ocean's delicate balance. As the jaws of the creature snapped shut with terrifying finality, Evelyn understood that their battle for survival had only just begun. What do you think could be hunting the great white sharks? The gigantic Megalodon. The Megalodon was truly enormous, as big as some dinosaurs according to fossils, reaching up to 60 feet long. Just picture that, about the length of a large dinosaur. And its mouth could open over 11 feet wide enough to swallow a whole shark or even 2 grown humans. Even though humans weren't around when these mega sharks roamed the seas over 3 million years ago, sharks were, and scientists believe they were, on the Megalodon's menu. It's not hard to believe when you see the size of the teeth that lined those massive jaws. Compared to a great white shark's tooth, a Megalodon's tooth is huge. With its incredible speed and powerful bite, the Megalodon was one of the fiercest predators ever. So you'd think it wouldn't just vanish without a fight. Some people wonder if it could still be hiding somewhere deep in the sea. After all, other fish species, like the coelacanth thought to be extinct, were rediscovered. So, even though we haven't seen any Megalodon yet, it doesn't necessarily mean they're extinct. There's a possibility that the ancient Megalodon has evolved over millions of years and now resides in the deep sea, which is technically possible. It's worth noting that humans only became Homo sapiens around 300,000 years ago, just as we have changed drastically over time. If the Megalodon were still alive and living secretly in the depths, it would likely look quite different from its ancient form. You see, creatures living deep in the ocean near the seabed have to adapt to survive on the limited species available there. Consequently, sharks that have evolved to live at such depths are usually slow-moving. This adaptation helps them conserve energy and require less food to survive. If the Megalodon has indeed adapted to deep-sea life, it would probably resemble a sleeper shark more closely. These sharks are slow-moving and non-aggressive, quite different from the fierce reputation of the traditional Megalodon. In simpler terms, a modern-day evolved Megalodon is unlikely to have the speed and power needed to hunt down and consume a 9-foot great white shark. Now, even though we might feel like we already have our answer, we can't talk about the most powerful ocean predators without mentioning Livyatan melvillei. Most people probably haven't heard of it before, but it's believed to be an extinct type of sperm whale that could have given the Megalodon a tough competition. With massive teeth measuring up to 14 inches long, excluding tusks, it had the largest teeth of any animal, past or present. Scientists think this unusually large creature could have eaten just about anything it wanted, including sharks and other whales. Imagine, one tooth is about as big as a bowling pin. This super whale, measuring about 60 feet long, supposedly became extinct about 9 million years ago, a widely accepted fact. However, scientists can make mistakes, and the exact reason for this whale's extinction remains as mysterious as the depths it inhabited. Some suggest they died out due to a global cooling event, as many of their prey couldn't survive in colder waters. But then, why did other sharks and whales survive while feeding on the same food? Perhaps it was because Livyatan's huge size required much more food to survive than smaller sea predators, but no one knows for sure. Now, skepticism would still linger if it weren't for one final piece of evidence against this theory. Like modern dolphins and whales, Livyatan melvillei couldn't breathe underwater. They had to surface to take in air. So, if these creatures weren't extinct, we'd surely see them coming up for air all the time. And considering their size, it's highly unlikely they could have remained unseen for 9 million years. Cannibal great white sharks. After considering all possibilities, scientists shifted their focus to the migration patterns of the great white shark. Upon examining the movements of other great white sharks navigating through the same area, researchers stumbled upon a startling revelation. The tracking data from those sharks aligned with the patterns detected by Alpha Shark's tracker. The mysterious spike in temperature on the tracker, which had baffled scientists for years, suddenly became clear. The elevated temperature matched the internal warmth of a typical great white shark. Amidst all the potential explanations, no one had considered the possibility of another great white being responsible for the attack. After all, they're typically not large enough. However, here's where the plot thickens. Alpha Shark wasn't devoured by an ordinary great white shark. It fell prey to a colossal, 16-foot-long cannibal great white. This supersized shark likely suffered from a condition where an animal experiences abnormal growth due to high levels of growth hormone. With a length of 16 feet, it could have easily weighed over 2 tons, more than twice the weight of shark alpha. As for why it consumed one of its own species, it's not uncommon for regular-sized sharks to feed on smaller ones. So, logically, gigantic sharks would prey on normal-sized ones. Now, you might wonder, if great whites typically don't dive as deep as the 1,900-foot depth where shark alpha met its demise, why did this enormous specimen drag its victim so deep? Well, the exact reason remains uncertain. However, while uncommon, great whites have been known to dive deeper than 4,000 feet on occasion. Considering the timing of shark alpha's temperature spike, it's evident that the super shark only consumed its prey at the end of the dive. Therefore, it's likely that it seized the smaller shark in its jaws and rapidly descended with it to disorient and facilitate the final kill. What do you think about the cannibal great white shark eating its own species? Let us know your opinion in the comments below.